Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Here are some ways that you can use ChatGPT with numbers on your Mac. MACMOST is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 1,000 supporters. Go to MACMOST.com/Patreon. There you could read more about it, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So you can find a lot of information about using ChatGPT with Excel. You could do a lot of that with numbers as well on your Mac. Now, a big difference is there aren't any apps or extensions that integrate ChatGPT with numbers like they do with Excel. But you can still use just regular ChatGPT with numbers to accomplish a number of tasks and make things a lot easier for you. So I'm just using ChatGPT at the website, chat.openai.com. I'm not using any special app. A lot of people always ask me, where do I find ChatGPT in the Mac App Store? Just go to the website and use it directly from them. And that's all I'm doing here. Nothing fancy. Now the first thing I'm going to show you is you can simply ask for help in finding the right function. So for instance, if you know what you want to do, you could search the function's help in numbers, or you can just ask ChatGPT with a prompt like this. So I'm just asking in Mac numbers, which functions can I use to determine if a value is contained in another table? And I'm going to submit this, and I'm going to get a bunch of different options. There's VLOOKUP, there's COUNTIF, there's index and match. And you could read through these. Now if you already know the function you want to use but you can't seem to get it right, you can always ask for help with that specific function. So here I'm asking in Mac numbers, how do you use the match function? And when I submit that, I'm going to get not only a definition but a uses example. And you can ask for more. So for instance, I just typed, give me some more examples. And I got a variety of different examples here. And I can continue to learn how to use specific functions. Maybe even functions I already know how to use, but I can learn new ways to use them. And I can also just ask ChatGPT to make the formula for you. So for instance, here I'm asking for Mac numbers, give me a formula that will produce the final sale price if column C is the base price, column D is the tax percent, and column E is the shipping charge. And when I submit this, it's going to give me the formula right there. You could always use this little copy code button here or just select it and copy and then paste. But even more important than that, you get a description of exactly how it works. So instead of copying and pasting, you can read about it, learn how it works so you know how to use it the next time or modify it to fit your needs. Now you can also use ChatGPT to help you get started with a spreadsheet. Here I'm asking, I want to create a spreadsheet to keep track of items I own, like books, DVDs, etc. What column headings should I have? A lot of times we sit there and think, oh, what should I put as the different columns for whatever it is I'm creating? And here I'm just going to ask ChatGPT to actually think about that for me and give me some suggestions. So when I have it generated here, it's going to give me this list. And a lot of these are really good ideas. It doesn't mean you need to take them all. You could take these 16 ideas and maybe just take 10 of those. But maybe there's one of that 10 that you didn't think of before you asked. Now one of the main things I use ChatGPT for now is to create sample data. I do that for my tutorials, but I also do that if I'm creating a spreadsheet and I want to make sure it works properly before I put real data in it. If you really want to test it on some sample data like 100 different rows, it can be difficult to create it all by yourself. But you can ask ChatGPT things like, give me a list of 100 random first names. And then you're going to get that list like this. And then notice how I could easily select here at the beginning. I'm going to go to the end, shift click to select the whole thing. This is just text in a browser window after all. Then I'm going to do Command C to copy. And in numbers here in my new spreadsheet, then I select a cell. I'm not going to do paste because it's going to paste the styles taken from the web page. But I am going to do paste and match style. And now I've got some data to start with. But you can go much further than that. Here I'm asking, I want to create a spreadsheet to keep track of my students' grades on tests. The columns are A is name, B is test date, C is test score, D is extra credit. Can you give me 20 rows of sample data? And now when I submit this, I get a table here in the web page. And once it's all generated, I can select the table like this. Just click and drag. And I will not use the headings there and just do Command C to copy. Then in numbers, I'm going to, again, go Edit, Paste and Match Style. And you can see how it pastes all of that data in here. Notice how the dates here come in as text when you paste it this way. But I could easily click the letter B here at the top of the column, go to Cell, Data Format, and change it to Date and Time. And it will reinterpret those cells and give me actual dates. Now instead of sample data, you can actually get real data from ChatGPT. So you can use a prompt like this. Give me a spreadsheet with data for US states with the following columns: state, population, average income. And when I have it generate this, it's going to give me real data. And I can copy and paste it in the same way as I could the sample data. You can get much more specific as to which columns that you want. It will draw on various different data sources. ChatGPT can also analyze data in your spreadsheet. Now, it can't access the data in your spreadsheet here, but you can copy and paste the data, giving it to ChatGPT and ask it to do something. So, for instance, I've got this table here. It's got students' names and grades, and it all looks fine. But I might want to analyze this, and I may not want to just create tons and tons of formulas in order to do that. So I'm going to select all of the data in the table here, and you can see there's 100 rows. Copy it. So you can ask something like this. Given the spreadsheet data, are there any rows that have unusually high or low values? Now I'm going to use Shift and Return to go to the next line without submitting. And I'm going to paste in the spreadsheet, and you can see how it just appears as text there. And then I'm going to submit it. And it's going to show me a lot of different work. And it's going to show me some unusually high values. There's one that's 109 and one that's unusually low, 20. So this could be a way just to find outliers, but also a way to maybe check for invalid data. Now if you want to ask more things about that same data, you don't need to resubmit the data. It remembers the conversation. Remember, you're having a conversation here, not just asking individual questions. So you could do something like this. Which students have 3 good scores and 1 bad one, and what are those scores? And it assumes you mean the data you've already submitted. So I'll send that. So that gives you some ideas. You can get really creative with how you ask things, and you can just keep re-asking if you don't get the results that you want the first time. You can also ask ChatGPT to clean up data. So a good example here are phone numbers. Sometimes you get phone numbers in different formats. Here I've got 6 different rows and 6 different ways of entering a phone number. So if I were to copy those over and then go and ask something like this, clean up this list of phone numbers by putting everyone in a format here, and you can see the format that I have specified. And then I'm going to do Shift Return and paste those numbers in there. Then you can see it gives me those phone numbers in that format. And I can now copy them from here, switch back to numbers, and simply edit and paste and match style those results over the original text. Now here's an additional tip. Sometimes when you ask for data like this, you get a table that looks like this, and you can copy it, but if you paste it in numbers it really doesn't work out. Other times you get it as a regular looking table that you can copy and paste, but sometimes selecting it can be difficult. You can ask it to give me the data as a CSV, and then it will generate that same data, but you can see it's a little bit easier here to see it as comma separated variables. And I can click this copy code button right here. But you can see here not only was it easier to copy, but it's easier to paste. Just a regular Command V will do it, and I get the data without any styling. I don't have to use edit and paste and match style. So there's a look at how you could use ChatGPT in a variety of ways with numbers. A few things to remember. Number one, it's a conversation, so keep asking questions. And then if you don't get the result you want, ask for clarification, ask for variations and everything. Remember that it's not exact. This isn't coding, so you don't have to use exactly the words I'm using. As a matter of fact, it's learning from previous things that you've asked. So you may get different results than I did by asking exactly the same thing. Just ask using your own natural language and then keep asking for adjustments until you get what you want. Also remember, ChatGPT is kind of like having a human assistant. It's going to give you lots of information, but it's not always going to be perfectly right. It may not understand you completely, or it may generate a result that doesn't get you what you want. So you have to ask again and look at the answers that you get from it critically to maybe avoid errors. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.